Chosen one, hear me clearly today. There is a weight on your shoulders that many will never understand, a burden that others may dismiss, but it is a burden that God Himself has entrusted to you. You have been connected to a person not by chance, not by mistake, not by coincidence, but by divine assignment. God, in His wisdom, has placed someone in your life who needs your endurance, your prayers, your compassion, and your unshakable faith. You may be tempted to walk away. You may feel tired of carrying them. And you may have moments when you wonder, why am I still holding on? But the Spirit of God warns you today, do not dare to give up on that person. Understand this, when God assigns someone to your life, it is not always comfortable. Sometimes it is frustrating. Sometimes it breaks you down. Sometimes it demands more patience, more love, and more sacrifice than you feel you have to give. But that is because God has hidden something inside that person that only you can help bring forth. They are not just another phase in your journey. They are a destiny connection. Your endurance with them is tied to a greater plan, a ripple effect that reaches far beyond what you can see right now. The enemy will whisper in your ear and say, let go. Walk away. It's not worth it. He will magnify their flaws, their failures, and their weaknesses, hoping to blind you to the treasure that God has hidden inside them. He wants you to believe the lie that your time and energy are wasted. But God says, chosen one, stay faithful. I am doing a work in them through you. You are not wasting your time. You are planting eternal seeds. You are not pouring into emptiness. You are investing in destiny. Think about this. When Jesus looked at Peter, He did not see just a fisherman. He saw the rock upon which His church would be built. When He looked at Saul of Tarsus, He did not see a persecutor. He saw Paul, the apostle who would carry the gospel to nations. What if Jesus had given up on them in their brokenness? What if He had walked away when they stumbled? Where would we be? In the same way, that person you are tempted to let go of carries a future that you cannot fully see yet, and your faithfulness may be the bridge that takes them there. Yes, it is heavy. Yes, it tests your patience. Yes, it pushes you to your limits. But God did not choose you because you are weak. He chose you because He placed within you the strength to endure. That person may not thank you today. They may not even recognize the value of your presence, but heaven sees, heaven records, and heaven will reward. Sometimes you are the only reflection of Christ they will ever encounter. Your consistency may be the only sermon they will ever hear. Your prayers may be the shield that keeps them from destruction. And one day, when God's work is complete, you will look back and realize why He told you not to give up. You will see how your tears watered their faith, how your patience shaped their growth, and how your endurance carried them to the place of breakthrough. So do not despise this assignment. Do not measure it by how you feel today. Measure it by the eternal impact it carries. God does not waste anything, not your pain, not your sacrifice, not your love. Everything you give in obedience will return as blessing, not just in their life, but in yours. Chosen one, this is a warning wrapped in love. Do not dare to give up on that person. Stand your ground. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep loving. The day will come when the story makes sense, when the puzzle pieces align, and when both of you will stand in awe of what God has done. And in that moment, you will realize that your endurance was not just about saving them. It was also about shaping you into the vessel God always intended you to be. Do not walk away from what God has entrusted to you. Do not allow frustration to blind you to purpose. Remember, Jesus never gave up on you, even when you were unworthy. Now He calls you to reflect that same love. Your obedience today is the key to someone else's tomorrow. So hold on, chosen one, for the glory of God is about to be revealed through your faithfulness, chosen one. I must speak to you with urgency because this word carries weight. You have been wrestling in your heart, thinking about whether you should let go of that person, whether you should stop praying for them, whether you should step back and wash your hands clean of the situation. But the Spirit of God says to you, hold on, do not give up, because your assignment is not finished. That person still needs you. And what God has started through you in their life, He will bring to completion if you remain faithful. Sometimes the hardest thing for a chosen one is not enduring persecution from strangers or carrying the burden of your own trials. The hardest thing is enduring the weight of someone else's process, someone else's struggle, someone else's stubbornness, and someone else's pain. And yet, this is the calling of love. God has connected you to someone who may not yet see their own worth, who may not yet recognize the treasure God has placed inside them. They may fight you, they may misunderstand you, and they may even push you away. But still, God whispers in your heart, do not give up, because your role in their story is too important. Think about how many times the Lord refused to give up on Israel. Though they rebelled, though they turned their backs, though they doubted him in the wilderness, he still sent prophets, he still sent leaders, he still stretched out his hand of mercy. Why? Because his covenant was stronger than their rebellion. In the same way, God has tied you by a covenant of assignment to this person. You cannot measure them by their current condition. You must see them the way God sees them. For where you see weakness, God sees potential. Where you see failure, God sees the beginning of transformation. Do not be deceived by appearances. That person may look like they are too far gone. They may act like they do not care. They may stumble and fall again and again. But God sees the future, and He knows that your obedience in this season is the very thing that is shaping their tomorrow. Your presence in their life is not ordinary. It is divine strategy. When you encourage them, you are planting seeds. When you intercede for them, you are building walls of protection around them. When you refuse to walk away, you are demonstrating to them what the unconditional love of Christ looks like. The enemy, on the other hand, wants you to quit. He knows that if you stay the course, that person will eventually rise. He knows that if you remain faithful, their life will shift toward God. So he plants thoughts of weariness. He magnifies their flaws. He tempts you with discouragement, hoping you will give up before the breakthrough arrives. But chosen one, this is a test of endurance. Just like a farmer does not walk away from the field after planting seeds, you cannot walk away from this person before the harvest comes. The soil may look barren now, but in due season, the fruit will appear. Remember, Jesus said that the good shepherd leaves the 99 to go after the one that is lost. That one person matters to him so much that heaven rejoices when they are restored. And right now, you are carrying the heart of the shepherd. God has called you to go after the one. It may not make sense to others, it may not be easy, but it is the way of Christ. And when that person finally turns, when they finally see the light, when they finally surrender to God's plan, you will look back and thank God that you did not quit. Chosen one, take this as a holy warning. Do not allow impatience or disappointment to drive you away. Do not measure your assignment by how quickly you see results. God is working beneath the surface, even when you cannot see it. Your prayers are moving mountains in the unseen realm. Your love is softening a heart that the enemy wanted to harden forever. You may not notice the changes day by day, but one day you will look up and realize that transformation has taken root. Do not give up on that person. Heaven is depending on your obedience, and that person's breakthrough is tied to your endurance. If you remain faithful, God will reward you openly for what you have carried in secret. You are not just holding on to them, you are holding on to the promise of God for their life. And when the promise is fulfilled, the glory will belong to Him alone. So stand strong, chosen one. The story is not over yet, and your perseverance will write a testimony that will echo into eternity. Chosen one, there are moments in your journey when you feel as though the weight of another person's struggles has become too heavy to carry. You question why God would assign you to someone who resists change, someone who does not always appreciate your efforts, someone who may even take your presence for granted. You wonder if perhaps you misheard God, or if perhaps your patience has been in vain. But I am here to remind you that your connection to this person is not random, it is divine. Heaven orchestrated this bond, and God has tied part of their destiny to your obedience. That is why the Spirit of God warns you, do not give up on them. What you are facing is not just a personal battle, it is spiritual warfare. The enemy is not simply trying to exhaust you, he is trying to cut off the destiny of that person. He knows that if you keep standing, if you keep praying, if you keep loving, then the chains around their life will eventually break. So he pressures you with discouragement. He whispers that your love is wasted, that your prayers are unheard, that your presence doesn't matter. But chosen one, do not be deceived. The very reason he wants you to quit is because he knows your endurance is powerful. Think of Moses interceding for Israel. Time after time, the people rebelled against God. Time after time, they turned their hearts to idols. Yet Moses stood in the gap, crying out, Lord, do not destroy them. His prayers preserved a nation that should have been wiped out. In the same way, you have been called to stand in the gap for that person. Your prayers are building a hedge of protection around them, keeping back the destruction the enemy has planned. If you let go now, you may never see the beauty of the deliverance God is preparing. There is a refining work happening in you as well. God is not only using you to shape them, He is using them to shape you. Every time you choose patience instead of anger, every time you show mercy instead of walking away, every time you pray when you feel like quitting, God is stretching your spirit. He is teaching you endurance. He is teaching you the heart of Christ. For did not Jesus remain faithful to his disciples even when they misunderstood him, even when they doubted him, even when they abandoned him at the cross? If Christ did not give up on us, then how can we, who are called by his name, give up on those he has entrusted to us? Sometimes, chosen one, the miracle is not in what happens quickly, but in what happens slowly. Transformation often takes time. Just as a seed hidden underground does not sprout overnight, the changes God is working in that person may be invisible to the human eye for a season. But delay does not mean denial. Hidden growth is still growth. And just as the farmer must wait patiently for the harvest, you must wait patiently for God to finish his work. Do not confuse silence with absence. God is moving even when you cannot trace his hand. You may feel overlooked, but heaven sees. Every tear you have cried, every prayer you have whispered in the night, every act of kindness when you felt unappreciated, none of it is wasted. God records it all, and he will reward it all. The enemy may try to convince you that you are standing alone, but you are not. The Spirit of God stands with you, strengthening you, holding you up, and giving you the grace to continue. Chosen one, this is your reminder your assignment is sacred. This person is not a burden to abandon, but a soul to be fought for. Do not give up, for the story is not finished. What looks like weakness today can become testimony tomorrow. What looks like failure now can become victory later. And when the breakthrough comes, you will see that every prayer, every act of love, every moment of patience was part of a divine masterpiece orchestrated by God. Do not surrender to weariness. Do not listen to the enemy's lies. The very fact that it feels so hard is proof that something powerful is at stake. Hold on, because God is still writing their story, and your obedience is the pen he is using. One day, you will witness the fruit of your endurance, and you will know beyond doubt that you did not carry them in vain. So, chosen one, stay the course, keep the faith, and never, ever give up on that person, because God never gave up on you. Chosen one, I know the weight feels heavy. I know you have reached points where you whispered in your heart, Lord, I cannot carry this anymore. You have prayed, you have wept, you have poured out everything inside of you for that person, and yet the progress feels so small, the results so hidden, the reward so distant, and the thought creeps in, maybe I should just let go. But God's Spirit speaks firmly today. Do not give up, for the work is deeper than what your eyes can see. You see, when God assigns you to someone, he is not asking you to walk with them only through the easy roads. He calls you to walk with them through the valleys, through the storms, and through the wilderness seasons where nothing makes sense. It is in those places that true love is proven, not when it is convenient, not when it is easy, but when everything inside you says, enough. Yet your spirit hears God say, hold on, that is where endurance is born, and that endurance is what God is using to transform not just them, but you as well. Think about Jesus and his disciples. They were slow to understand, quick to doubt, weak in faith, and yet he never cast them away. Peter denied him, Thomas doubted him, and the others fled in fear. Yet Jesus restored them all. Why? Because he knew the potential hidden within their weakness. He knew that Peter would stand boldly one day and preach to thousands. He knew that Thomas would carry the gospel into foreign lands. He knew that those very men who looked broken and unreliable would one day become pillars of the church. And he endured with them until the promise came to pass. That same endurance is what God is asking of you with the one he has placed in your life. Chosen one, sometimes the person you are holding on to does not even know the battle you are fighting for them. They may not realize the prayers you are lifting in the midnight hour, the sacrifices you are making, or the patience you are showing when others would have walked away. They may not yet appreciate it, but heaven appreciates it. Angels record every act of love, every whispered intercession, every tear shed in secret. Nothing escapes the eyes of your Father, and he promises that your labor in the Lord is never in vain. Do not let weariness deceive you into thinking your work is fruitless. Seeds often remain buried for a long time before they sprout. Roots grow in silence, hidden beneath the soil, but without them the plant cannot stand. What you are doing now may feel hidden, but it is laying foundations for the future. That person may resist now, but your consistency is breaking through walls. They may fall again, but your prayers are softening the ground for them to rise. You may not see the change day by day, but God is weaving something eternal in the unseen. The enemy, however, will do everything to push you away. He knows that your perseverance threatens his hold on that life. He will try to wear you down, to make you bitter, to make you believe the lie that you are wasting your time. But you must remember, the devil only fights what he fears. If he is fighting this connection so hard, it is because he knows the power that will be released once God finishes his work through you. Do not hand him the victory by quitting too soon. Chosen one, let love be your anchor. Let prayer be your weapon. Let faith be your vision. Do not measure the situation by what you see now, but by what God has promised. The same God who never gave up on you when you were wandering will give you the strength not to give up on them. Your role is not to change them. That is God's work. Your role is to remain faithful, to intercede, to love, and to endure until the miracle unfolds. Do not abandon the assignment God has entrusted to you. Do not let frustration silence your prayers or weariness harden your heart. The Lord warns you not to give up because your obedience is carrying eternal weight. The day is coming when the hidden seeds will bloom, when the prayers will be answered, and when the testimony will shine forth. You will see that every sacrifice was worth it. So stand firm, chosen one, hold on to that person in faith and trust that God is writing a story that will glorify his name through both of your lives. Chosen one, sometimes the greatest test of your faith is not what happens to you, but what happens through you for the sake of another. You may be carrying someone right now who feels more like a weight than a blessing. You may be asking God, why me? Why did you connect me to this person? Why must I keep pouring into them when I see so little in return? But hear this, God is intentional. He does not tie people together by accident. If he has asked you to stay, to endure, to intercede for this person, then it is because something eternal is at stake. He warns you today, do not give up, for your obedience is holding back the plans of the enemy over their life. You see, chosen one, God often uses people to rescue people. When Israel cried out for deliverance in Egypt, he raised up Moses. When the world needed a savior, he came through his son, Jesus Christ. And now, when that person is on the edge of darkness, when they are battling storms that no one else can see, God has positioned you as their lifeline. This is not by chance. It is by divine design. Your voice may be the one voice that keeps them from drowning. Your prayer may be the one prayer that breaks chains. Your endurance may be the one thing that reminds them that God has not abandoned them. Do not be fooled by appearances. On the outside, they may look resistant. On the outside, they may act careless. On the outside, they may even push you away. But in the spirit, your presence is shifting things. Every time you refuse to let go, you are declaring to the enemy that his plans will not succeed. Every time you pray over them, you are tearing down strongholds in the unseen. Every time you speak life when all they hear is negativity, you are planting hope in their soul. The battle may be invisible, but the impact is eternal. Think about Elijah when he prayed for rain after a long drought. He sent his servant to look toward the sea. But the servant saw nothing, not once, not twice, but 6 times. Elijah could have given up after the first report of nothing. He could have stopped praying after the 3rd or 4th time. But he pressed on, believing that God's promise would not fail. On the 7th time, the servant reported a small cloud rising, and that small sign became the beginning of a great downpour. In the same way, chosen one, you may not see results right now. You may have prayed again and again and heard nothing. But keep standing, keep pressing, keep believing, because the small sign will come, and with it will come a flood of breakthrough. Do not underestimate the power of your endurance. The enemy will have nothing more than for you to walk away, because he knows you carry authority in Christ. If you give up, he gains ground. But if you hold on, he loses his grip. That person's future may depend on your persistence. And when God says do not give up, it is not just a suggestion, it is a command tied to destiny. Chosen one, love is not proven in comfort but in sacrifice. Jesus did not prove his love for humanity with words alone, but with a cross. He carried our burdens, bore our shame, and refused to quit even when it meant pain beyond measure. And because he endured, we are saved. In the same way, your endurance may be the cross you carry for that person, but from it will come resurrection power, life where there was death, and hope where there was despair. I know it feels exhausting. I know your heart grows weary. But God's grace is sufficient for you. Each time you want to quit, lean into his strength. Each time you feel drained, draw from his spirit. You are not carrying this alone. Heaven stands behind you, angels fight beside you, and the Spirit of God fills you with power to keep going. Chosen one, do not abandon your post. Do not let weariness or frustration cause you to turn away. God has assigned you to this person, and your obedience carries eternal weight. The breakthrough may not be visible yet, but it is coming. Your endurance is not wasted. It is planting seeds that will one day bloom into a testimony of God's faithfulness. Hold fast, keep loving, keep praying, and trust that the same God who never gave up on you will use you to show His relentless love to them. Do not give up now. The story is still being written, and its ending will glorify God. Chosen one, the Spirit of God speaks to you again with a warning wrapped in love. Do not let go of that person. You have carried them in prayer. You have carried them in love. You have carried them in patience, and yet there is a temptation rising inside of you to stop. The enemy whispers, it's useless, they will never change, they are too far gone. But God says, hold your ground, stand firm, do not quit now, for you cannot see the full picture of what He is working out behind the scenes. God's ways are higher than our ways. His timing is not our timing. Sometimes we look at a life and think it is hopeless, but God looks at the same life and sees destiny waiting to unfold. That person you are tempted to give up on may very well be the one God intends to raise as a testimony of His glory. Their current struggle is not the end of their story. It is simply a chapter. And you, chosen one, are part of the pen that God is using to write the rest. Your faithfulness is part of their transformation. Remember how Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, and forgotten by men. Anyone looking at him in those seasons might have said, he is finished, his purpose is over. But God had a plan hidden in the suffering. Joseph's process was painful, but it was preparing him to save many lives. In the same way, the person you are holding on to may be in a pit right now, but that pit does not define their destiny. God may be preparing them to carry something great, and your role is to stand by them until His plan is revealed. Do not measure their future by their present struggles. God sees beyond the addiction, beyond the rebellion, beyond the doubt, beyond the sin. He sees the redeemed version of them, the one washed in His blood, the one walking in His purpose, the one testifying of His mercy. And chosen one, your endurance may be the bridge that carries them from brokenness to wholeness. That is why the Lord warns you, do not let go. It is not easy. God knows it is not easy. Sometimes love feels like a cross and endurance feels like nails in your hands. But is that not the example Christ left us? He did not quit when it became unbearable. He did not walk away from the cross when the pain pierced His flesh. He endured to the very end because He knew what was at stake, our salvation. Now God calls you to endure for the one He has entrusted to you because He knows what is at stake, their soul, their destiny, their eternity. The enemy's strategy is clear. He wants to make you so tired that you walk away just before the breakthrough comes. He wants to convince you that your prayers are powerless, that your efforts are wasted, that your love is in vain. But chosen one, the truth is the opposite. Every prayer you pray shakes the kingdom of darkness. Every word of encouragement you speak sows life into their heart. Every act of patience weakens the enemy's grip. You are not wasting your energy, you are building a testimony. Do not confuse silence with absence. Just because you do not see change yet does not mean God is not working. Like roots growing deep underground, transformation often happens where the eye cannot see. But in due season, the fruit will appear. Your role is to keep watering the soil with prayer, to keep shining the light of love, and to trust that God's word will not return void. Chosen one, this is more than a relationship. It is an assignment. You are chosen not because you are the strongest, but because you are willing. God saw in you a heart that could endure, and that endurance is what will break the chains in their life. Do not trade eternal reward for temporary relief. Do not quit when you are so close to seeing God's hand move in power. Do not give up on that person. God has invested too much, heaven has decreed too much, and the enemy is fighting too hard for this to be meaningless. Stand firm in prayer, in love, and in faith. One day the testimony will speak for itself. You will see the fruit of every tear, every prayer, and every sacrifice. And in that moment, you will know why God warned you not to let go. Chosen one, your endurance is the key to their breakthrough. Hold on, for the glory of God will soon be revealed. Chosen one, the Spirit of the Lord says to you one last time in this message, do not give up on that person. You have been stretched, you have been tested, you have been pressed in ways you never thought you could endure. You have wondered why God keeps pulling you back to them, why He won't release you, why He keeps asking you to love, to pray, to wait when your human strength feels like it is gone. But it is because this connection is divine. This is not just about companionship, this is about assignment. God has tied your obedience to their transformation, and He warns you with urgency. Do not let go now. There are some people in life who come and go, but there are others who are given to us as sacred responsibilities. This person is one of them. They may not yet see it. They may not yet thank you. They may not even realize the prayers you have prayed or the sacrifices you have made. But heaven sees and heaven records. You are a living testimony of Christ's endurance in their life. Every time you choose to stay, every time you choose to forgive, every time you choose to intercede instead of walk away, you are showing them a glimpse of the love of Jesus. That is why this matters. The enemy hates this connection because he knows what is hidden inside of it. He knows that if you hold on, this person will rise. He knows that your persistence is the very thing breaking the chains around their soul. That is why he fights you so fiercely, planting thoughts of frustration, stirring up conflict, making it feel as though the weight is too much. But chosen one, the intensity of the battle is proof of the importance of the mission. If it did not matter, the enemy would not fight it this hard. Think of Ruth and Naomi. Naomi told Ruth to go back, to leave, to return to her own people, because she had nothing left to give. But Ruth refused. She said, "Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God." Ruth's persistence to remain by Naomi's side opened the door for God to write a redemption story greater than either of them could imagine. Through Ruth came the lineage of David, and through David came the lineage of Jesus Christ. What if Ruth had given up? What if she had turned back? The story would have been altered forever. Chosen one, your persistence is tied to a story much greater than what you can see. Generations may be impacted by your decision to hold on. Do not believe the lie that your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling. God hears every word. Do not think your tears are wasted. The psalmist says he collects every tear in a bottle. Do not think your labor is in vain. Paul reminds us that in due season we will reap if we faint not. The key is not brilliance. The key is not perfection. The key is persistence. And God is saying to you now, persist, endure, love, stay the course. Yes, there will be days you want to give up. There will be nights you feel empty. But in those moments, remember that Jesus himself prayed in Gethsemane, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will but yours be done." Even the Son of God faced the temptation to let go, but he endured for the joy set before him. And because he endured, we are saved. Now your chosen one are called to endure in your assignment, not in your strength, but in his. His Spirit will supply what you lack. His grace will carry you where your own strength fails. Do not abandon this person. Do not abandon the assignment. What God has joined together in purpose, the enemy cannot destroy unless you choose to walk away. Hold on, chosen one, because your endurance is not just shaping their life, it is shaping yours. One day the testimony will come forth, and you will see clearly why God asked you to stay. You will look back and say, it was worth it. Every tear, every prayer, every sacrifice, it was all worth it. And in that moment, all the glory will belong to the Lord, who never gave up on you, and through you, never gave up on them.